The mountains of Caldrith had always whispered of secrets, ancient glyphs, carved into stone spoke of gods who walked among mortals, of waters that healed or cursed, of voices in the dark that promised eternity. Most dismissed them as myths, but to Draven Halt, an earthborn prospector, myths were invitations. His shuttle had dropped him in the jagged ranges of Caldrith's northern hemisphere, uncharted, uncolonized, largely avoided. Reports of strange energy readings had trickled into the frontier stations, enough for Draven to risk the trip. Credits were tight and he was running out of contracts. 3 days of climbing brought him to the mouth of the cave. The air here was unnaturally still, cold despite the planet's suns burning above. His wrist scanner pinged faint anomalies, but the deeper he went, the weaker the signal became, as though something dampened it intentionally. The walls narrowed until he had to squeeze through a slit of stone, and then, suddenly, the chamber opened. Before him lay a pool of water, still and impossibly clear, glowing faintly with his own light. The cavern's ceiling shimmered with crystalline veins, casting reflections that danced like stars. Draven dropped to his knees, his throat parched from the climb. Against all reason, he cupped his hands, dipped them into the pool, and drank. The water was cool, sweeter than any he had ever tasted. Relief spread through him, but almost instantly heat followed. Coursed through his veins, burning, twisting. He gasped, dropping to his hands and knees, his body convulsing as if every cell screamed. And then, silence. You have no idea what you just became. The whisper came from behind. Draven spun, heart pounding. A figure stood at the edge of the pool, tall and robed in shadows, its face obscured. The voice was neither male nor female, but something in between, layered, resonant. Who? What are you? Draven demanded. The figure tilted its head. Guardian, watcher, jailer, perhaps. It depends on how you choose to see me. But you reckless human. You've done what your kind always does. You touched what you did not understand. Draven's fists clenched. I just drank water. The figure laughed softly, a sound like stone cracking. That is no water. It is the Vitae pool carved in the age before empires, when the makers still shaped flesh and thought. To drink of it is to bind yourself to what sleeps beneath. Draven's skin prickled. What do you mean? Bind? The figure stepped closer, and for the first time, Draven saw eyes silver, endless, reflecting not the cavern, but something far older. It means you are no longer merely human. At first, Draven thought it a trick, but as he staggered back toward the surface, he realized something had changed. His vision sharpened, colors bleeding with intensity he had never known. He could hear the drip of water dozens of meters away, the skitter of insects and cracks of stone. His muscles felt charged, coiled with unnatural strength. By the time he emerged from the cave into the dying light of Caldrith's suns, his body no longer ached from the climb. He felt alive, too alive. And then came the whispers, not from outside, but within. Voices murmuring at the edge of thought, ancient syllables pressing against his mind like waves. Bearer, vessel, Dwaken. He clutched his head. Shut up. The mountains offered no answer but wind. That night, as he camped in the shadow of the peaks, the figure appeared again. Not physically, but in the firelight shimmer at the corner of his eye. You cannot return to who you were, it said. The pool does not grant. It demands. Draven glared. Demands what? To be carried. To be unleashed. The makers forged weapons in the form of mortals, and you have swallowed their seed. Already your body shifts already. You hear the call. Draven clenched his jaw. If this is some ancient weapon, then I'll tear it out. I'm no one's tool. The figure's silver eyes gleamed in the dark. That is why you may survive. Humans, you are stubborn beyond reason. The next day's blurred. Draven tried to descend the mountains, but the terrain bent oddly before him as if reality shifted to bar his path. Storms came, suddenly lightning chasing him only to vanish when his anger surged. He realized with dawning horror that the storms answered him. When hunger noted, he found his senses guiding him to hidden roots, edible, sustaining. When predators stalked, his strength tore them apart with a single blow. His hands, slick with blood he did not remember. Billing. The voices grew louder. Free. Release us. You are the key. Each time he tried to resist, the power inside swelled, aching for release. On the seventh day they came. A Dominion. Patrol scouts armored and armed, tracking energy anomalies from orbit. Their leader sneered at Draven. Blaster. Raised. Human trespasser. This zone is restricted. State your purpose. Draven tried to answer, but the word stuck. The whispers surged, furious. Threat. Break them. Show them what you are. No. He hissed through clenched teeth. The soldiers advanced. A shot rang out, searing past his shoulder. Pain flared, and with it the dam broke. Light burst from him, a wave that shattered rock and hurled soldiers into the air. The mountain trembled as if in fear. When the dust cleared, the patrol was gone, disintegrated, erased, only charred. Stone remained. Draven collapsed to his knees, horror and power coursing through him in equal measure. That night the guardian returned. You see now, it said, you are the vessel. Through you the Maker's will awakens. Draven shook his head violently. No, I'm not their weapon. I'm not anyone's weapon. The figure's eyes glowed, then wielded as your own. Humans are unpredictable. Perhaps in your defiance the pool has found something new. Draven looked down at his trembling hands at the ground, scorched by his outburst. If this power can destroy, then maybe it can protect, too. For a long moment the guardian was silent. Then it inclined its head. Perhaps. But remember this, every choice will shape what you become. Savior, tyrant, or ruin. It will not be the Makers who decide. It will be you. Draven left the mountains the next morning. The whispers did not vanish, but they grew quieter, less demanding, as if watching, waiting. In his chest, the power themed like a caged star. He knew the Dominion would come again. Others too, seekers of the pool, desperate to claim its strength. But he also knew this. He was no longer just Draven Halt Prospector. He was something older, something dangerous, something free. As he gazed up at the stars, he whispered to the voices within. You wanted a vessel. You got a human, and we don't break easy. The mountains echoed with distant thunder as though the world itself acknowledged him. And somewhere, in the silence that followed, a whisper replied, not commanding, not demanding, but curious. Then show us what humanity